afternoon, guests, faculty, staff, and of course, the SAIS Europe class of 2021. It's so nice to see the auditorium full again, albeit with social distancing. For those of you who are not here, I hope you're safe and healthy, regardless of where you are, somewhere else in the building or somewhere else in the world. Welcome to SAIS Europe Commencement 2021. I'm so pleased that so many people have been able to participate in person or online, including members of the SAIS Europe faculty and staff who join me in warmly congratulating you and wishing you farewell for the moment to the Bologna class of 2021. I'm sure that my colleagues will agree with me that this class and this year will always have a special place in our hearts and memories, and not just because of the difficult time you've had to endure. You are truly unique. You continue time-tested traditions of the Bologna Center and have been a continuous source of new innovations. You're an eclectic, diverse group of students from almost 40 countries with varied academic and professional backgrounds, united by an unswerving motivation to deepen your knowledge of international affairs and make your mark. You should be proud of the dynamic and vibrant community you have created over the last 9 months, despite the many challenges and restrictions caused by the pandemic. You've persevered, and while the price has been high, you will no doubt be stronger for it. It is so heartwarming to see the room full of graduates with your laurel wreaths. It was tragic to have to close the school down in March, but we were relieved that we were able to open it up again with more than a month left in the semester. Importantly, we were able to be together today and take pictures. Indeed, we're living through one of the world's greatest challenges in generations. Perhaps the COVID-19 crisis does not compare to major war or nuclear calamity, but its rapid arrival, its global reach, and the great sense of uncertainty and concern for the future that it imparts attests to its historical significance. The relevance of a SAIS education in the context of this pandemic is obvious. Policymakers are not to be envied these days with all the difficult choices they need to make going forward, but those with the SAIS degree possess the strong multidisciplinary analytical tools necessary to deal with the trade-offs of this and future crises and make the wise decisions supported by evidence-based analysis that save lives. From jumpstarting the global economy to the conflict in the Middle East, the eclectic, cutting-edge academic experience you've received at SAIS is giving you the foundations you will need to tackle legacy issues and future challenges. Speaking of current events, I now have the distinct pleasure and honor of introducing our commencement speaker, SAIS alumnus, CNN anchor, and prolific author, Mr. Wolf Blitzer. Welcome, Mr. Blitzer, to our SAIS commencement ceremony. As you know, Wolf is anchor of CNN's The Situation Room and is a superstar in the world of TV journalism. Born in post-World War II Germany to Polish Jewish refugees who survived Auschwitz, he grew up in Buffalo, New York, where he graduated from State University of New York at Buffalo before coming to SAIS for his MA in International Relations. While at SAIS, he also studied abroad at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, where he learned Hebrew. He then embarked on a print journalism career in Washington and Jerusalem. Over the decades, as he moved from print to cable TV, Wolf reported on a wide range of major breaking stories around the world that have shaped the international political landscape, and has interviewed many of history's most notable figures, including US Presidents Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter, and Gerald Ford from Michigan, as well as many other foreign leaders. Mr. Blitzer served as CNN's military affairs officer, White House correspondent, Sunday morning interview host, anchor, and presidential debate questioner. Not only has he received numerous prestigious awards for his reporting, but his fame is also such that he appeared in numerous films as himself, reporting on events, including the James Bond film Skyfall, Netflix political drama House of Cards, and one of my favorites, the campaign. So today he joins us from Washington, D.C., though we hope to be able to welcome him to Bologna one of these days. And Wolf, that is an open invitation. After his speech, he will be answering some questions that you might have for him. Again, we're honored to have you here and are so pleased that you've accepted our invitation to give the commencement address to the SAIS Europe class of 2021. The virtual floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really grateful to you for inviting me to appear at this beautiful commencement event to the 2021 SAIS Europe graduates. I want to simply say congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. I wish I were there with you in person. It would have been so nice, I must say, if we could all have been together. As you know, I love SAIS. I also must confess that a trip to Italy right now, especially Bologna, a city I love, would have been so appealing after these many months, where the only place I really traveled to was the Situation Room here in Washington. It's been a tough year and a couple of months, but we're beginning slowly but surely to move on. I will say this, I love Bologna, having been there several times. Even though I didn't study in Bologna, when I was a student at SAIS, I visited Bologna, and it really was just such a thrilling, wonderful experience. As all of you know, Bologna is special, and I hope I will be there. I'll be back with you sooner rather than later. I don't know if you guys saw the Stanley Tucci CNN special on Bologna. If you didn't, check it out because it was really great. If you love food, you love Bologna. There's no doubt about that. These virtual ceremonies, I must say, are good, but it would have been so much better if I were there with you, sitting, standing next to each other, seeing each of you laugh, sometimes even cry during an emotional moment, and maybe even taking some selfies. You have so much to celebrate right now. I know all of you have worked really hard. You've been through a lot to reach this milestone during one of the most difficult times in our history. And I'm sure all of you are so proud, as you certainly have every right to be. And your families and friends are also so proud of you as well. By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to the graduates' parents who helped make this day possible through their hard work, through their support and their love. To the parents who are with us right now, if you're watching, thank you very much. Graduates, as someone who was once in your shoes receiving a diploma from SAIS, I can testify how potentially critical this moment really is and how relevant your education is. Whatever path you wind up taking, whether diplomacy, business, politics, education, journalism, whatever path you take, you are the future. You will be our leaders. I have no doubt about that. The events of the past year and a half have underscored what many of us already believed, that every person and every country on this planet is interconnected. And it's the biggest problems we often face, whether it's the coronavirus pandemic or global warming or the threat of war. All of these problems are so international, and we have to appreciate that. You have seen that firsthand, certainly, during your studies in Bologna. I know I learned so much about the world during my 2 years at SAIS. I knew I had received an amazing education at the time. I had studied American foreign policy, international relations, international economics, European affairs, Middle East studies, so much more. And I knew that SAIS had a truly worldwide, fantastic reputation. But I have to admit, on my graduation day, and it was years ago, I really wasn't sure what I would be doing next. I suspect at least some of you can relate to that right now. So let me share with you, and if you give me a few minutes, share a little bit of my personal story, and let me share also some of my advice as you begin to carve out your future in a very complicated and changing world. I don't think, first of all, I would be where I am today without my SAIS education. The diploma you're receiving today can truly change your life. The key for me was finding a way to combine my education with my personal interests and my passion. My passion was, and certainly continues to be, news. I'm proud to call myself a news junkie. I was a news junkie, by the way, even as a little boy growing up in Buffalo, New York. That was thanks to my wonderful and loving parents who encouraged my older sister and me to watch the news on television and to read the newspapers. By the way, there was no streaming in those days. My parents were immigrants to the United States, and they so appreciated the opportunity to create a new and truly wonderful life for themselves in this country. And they clearly made me appreciate that as well. So when I graduated from SAIS and had an opportunity to pursue a career in journalism, I guess it was only natural that I turned to potentially to news. Graduates, if, and this is a big if you can combine your interest, if you can combine your interest and your passion with your career, you will wake up every morning and look forward to going to work. Even after all of these years, I still look forward to getting up in the morning and getting on with the business of the news. My job allows me to have a daily education. I learn so much every day by reporting the news, interviewing newsmakers, finding out what's really going on behind the scenes. I also know that when I go to sleep at night, I'll be a little bit smarter than I was when I woke up in the morning, because I learned something, and usually something important, every single day. And I use that knowledge I gained at SAIS every day as well, covering stories that involve foreign policy, economics, the Middle East, international issues. My SAIS education has helped make me a better journalist. It's also helped me become a better citizen of the United States and a better citizen of the world. And for that, and for so much more, I am grateful. We meet today at a critical moment in our country and at a critical moment around the world. You graduates, and I'm sure you appreciate this, face a very uncertain world right now. There are unique hurdles, and not just from the COVID-19 pandemic. For example, this is personal. The tensions here in Washington, D.C. right now are very, very real. What happened at the US Capitol on January 6th was truly terrible. I was here that day. I was reporting live on CNN what was going on. And I found out that it was so personally hard. It was so personally hard to believe that rioters, American citizens, were attacking the seat of our democracy. I heard their angry shouts, saw their violent assault on our Capitol police officers. I knew these things have been going on elsewhere around the world in many countries, but I truly never expected to see it unfold here in our country, especially in the US Capitol. So far, more than 440 Americans have been arrested and charged in what we call the insurrection. I'm told, by the way, from sources over at the Justice Department, more arrests are coming. This story is by no means over. That's why I believe it's so important to have a full-scale review of exactly what happened here in Washington. We need to know all the details. We need to know all the details and all the history, because if we don't learn from our mistakes, we will be bound to repeat them. Having said that, and this is important, I am still confident we will all get through these difficult times. There have been many tense times in our country's history, yet we always recover, we always emerge even stronger, and we will this time as well. By the way, my hope and my optimism have roots in my family's history. As I mentioned, my parents were immigrants to this country. They came to the United States shortly after World War II, when the US opened its doors to what were then called displaced persons. The House and Senate had just passed the Displaced Persons Act. President Truman signed it into law, granting hundreds of thousands of visas to what were called displaced persons, refugees, many of them Holocaust survivors, to come to the United States. My parents came to the United States. By the way, my 4 grandparents were killed by the Nazis in concentration camps during the war. But my mom and dad were young, they were strong, they survived, and eventually got these visas as displaced persons to come to the United States and settle in Buffalo, New York. This country gave them a second chance, as it has done to so many immigrants from around the world. It wasn't easy. My parents struggled with a new language, with new jobs, but they were smart and they were determined and they worked hard and they just did fine. They did just fine. They had endured unthinkable loss and suffering, but they were so grateful for the chance to build a new life in the United States. They were so grateful to this country for all it had to offer. They were, by the way, among the most patriotic Americans I have ever known. We had an American flag flying outside our house in Buffalo all the time, not just on the big holidays. Remember, our country is a country of immigrants. It's another way that we are so deeply connected to the rest of the world. And as far as I'm concerned, welcoming immigrants to the United States continues to help make this country great. That is one of the many lessons I learned from my parents through their words and through their example. They taught me to be persistent, to work hard, to be fair, to be kind, to be generous, to be smart, and to be very, very thankful for all that we have. They taught me some very important practical lessons as well. My dad had a few wise phrases that he often shared with me. And I often share them, by the way, with members of our staff here at CNN. So often, by the way, that they could say the words with me. And so now I want to share a few of these with you. 1, if you don't promote yourself, no one else will. Let me repeat it. If you don't promote yourself, no one else will. Don't be shy. Get out there, spread the good news about yourself. 2, if you don't ask, you don't get. I'll repeat it. If you don't ask, you don't get. Ask questions and demand answers. And if you want something, ask. Again, don't be shy, be bold. 3, good to go, good to come home. Yes, it's great to travel around the world. It's great to travel around the country, but it's also great to come home. Appreciate what you have. The many lessons I learned from my mom and dad helped me accomplish my dreams. And graduates, now it's time for you to go out and realize your dreams. Take what you learned from your SAIS education, what you learned from your parents, your family, and your experiences, and go ahead and run with it. Once again, I want to personally congratulate the parents and the grandparents, for that matter, and all the loved ones. I will also want to thank the wonderful SAIS faculty and staff, and I especially want to once again thank you, the graduates. Remember, you are the stars. You have now been educated. You have now been tested. You have shown your resilience during especially this awful global pandemic, which is, by the way, not over with yet. You have reached this important moment in your lives, and I must say, jobs so far, jobs well done. Now you are ready for whatever comes your way. We're all counting on you as the future leaders of our country, the future leaders, in fact, of the world. No pressure, by the way. Your degree and your studies make you uniquely qualified right now to help make this planet a better place. The challenges will be enormous, but I'm sure you will meet those challenges. And I'm confident you will have truly exciting and wonderful careers. And I hope, by the way, very happy and healthy lives. There's a lot for you to do, and yes, there's still a lot for you to learn. Lessons many of you will share one day with your children and eventually with your grandchildren someday. So once again, thank you very much, SAIS, for inviting me. SAIS Bologna is great. To the class of 2021, good work, good luck. I wish you nothing but the very, very best. By the way, wherever I go around the United States all these years, indeed, whenever I go all over the world, I run into SAIS graduates, and I love doing that. A lot of them know that I'm a SAIS grad. They come over to me, they want to talk, get some experiences. And I hope if I run into any of you down the road, you do the same, just come over to me and let's talk a little bit about SAIS and what it means for all of us. So on that note, go forth, get your degrees. And once again, we are so proud of you. Thank you so much for inviting me to this very special day.
Thank you so much, Wolf, for that interesting and inspiring talk. In preparation for your visit, the members of the SAIS Europe Student Government Association have gathered some questions for you. I invite Ben Schnogel to the podium to ask the first question and to preside over the others to follow. And so let me just say that as you pose your questions, if you can, say your names.
Thank you, Mr. Blitzer, for being here. We're all excited to have you here. And of course, in the spirit of asking questions, thank you for also being willing to answer a few of ours. My name is Ben Schnogel. I'm an American, first-year master's candidate. And as an American, I'm concerned, of course, about partisanship. So as the gulf between left and right widens, American political discourse seems to be at its nadir. How do you see this dynamic of mutual anathema playing out in the next 10 or 20 years? And what will it take to reverse it? Thank you.
Excellent question. Thank you, Ben, for that question, and good luck to you as in your SAIS experience. Yes, the country is pretty divided right now. We saw it in the election. We certainly saw it in all the debates, and sadly, in one respect, we saw it on the January 6th insurrection. But I will say what I said in my remarks. I'm confident that we will get through it. I'm old enough to remember the bitter divisions we had in our country during the Vietnam War, for example, when the anger was boiling over all the time. I was a very young student at the time, but I remember it personally. I remember what was going on later during Watergate and the forced resignation of a president of the United States, Richard Nixon. The country was bitterly divided at that time. The anger was very, very real indeed. And yes, the country is pretty seriously divided right now, but I'm confident that better people will prevail on both sides, whether you're liberal, a Democrat, conservative, Republican. We all have to work together to make sure we get through these very tense times and move forward. And as a journalist, I hope to be able to help in that process by reporting the news as fairly and as accurately and as responsibly as possible.
Mr. Blitzer, thank you for your words during your speech, and thank you for answering our questions. My name is Lorenzo Marchetti. I'm Italian, actually from Imola, and very close to Bologna, and everyone jokes about this here. So my question is, many of the world's democracies have been embracing populism and flirting with authoritarianism. At SAIS, we have studied many of the potential causes for it. What is your take on the causes for this trend? And looking back, do you observe any warning signs throughout your career? Thank you very much again.
Well, there have always been, and Lorenzo, that's an excellent question as well. There have always been warning signs out there, and there have always been very, very serious disruptions. All of us want to see perfect democracies. We want to see everyone happy. We want to see everyone, cooperating, working together for the common good. But, if you take a look at American history, world history, going back over these years, there's always been tough times. And in Europe, there was a couple world wars where we saw, really, really awful things develop, as we all know. Are there warning signs? Yes. Do we appreciate what they are? Yes. Do you study it in your international relations classes at SAIS? Of course you do. Do we manage to overcome those differences all the time? No. And sometimes the pressure from the far right or the far left, get out of control. But we got to work to deal with it. But it's a serious problem right now. And I think not only here in the United States, but in several European countries, in Asian countries, South American, Central American countries right now, African countries. The tensions are enormous. And I just think, leaders like you, the SAIS Europe graduates of 2021, I think you guys can certainly help and deal with these issues and make sure we move on in a more productive, and efficient way, and avoid those kinds of disasters that are clearly possible, but we got to work hard to fight it.
Hello, Mr. Blitzer. My name is Connor O'Brien. I'm from Connecticut. My question to you is, for students who are graduating right now at SAIS during this time of global pandemic, what advice would you have for them?
My advice, Connor, is to go ahead and, as I said in my remarks, pursue a career that you really love and a career that you're going to be passionate about. If you want to be, if you want to be a journalist, great. I don't know if you want to be a journalist, but I wanted to be a journalist, and it turned out great for me. But if you want to be a diplomat, great. If you want to be a business leader, great. If you want to be a scientist, fine. If you want to be go and get an MBA and be a business, become a billionaire, that's great as well. I want you to do what you really want to do, what you're passionate about doing. Because if you pick something that you don't really love doing, guess what? You're not going to enjoy it, and you're not going to do it that well. And it's going to be really disappointing. So my advice is to find what you really love and pursue a career in that area. And once you pursue that career and you know what you want to do, the best advice I have is to practice. Practice, practice, practice. Because you're not going to start at the top, you're going to start at the bottom. If you want to be a cellist, what do you got to do? You got to practice. If you want to be a tennis player, what do you got to do? You got to practice. You want to be a journalist, you got to practice. You got to learn how to report. You got to learn how to write. You got to learn, all of the techniques. You got to practice. You got to start out at the bottom, go for the internships, and get the entry level positions. Then work hard, learn from those who are more experienced, and you'll do well. But that's my advice.
Hello, Mr. Blitzer. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Anthony Larita, and I'm an MA student focusing on energy and environmental policy. As you know, conflict is once again manifesting itself in violence in the Middle East. My question is, given the deeply entrenched and emotional positions on both sides, how can journalists stay objective in the face of an audience that is anything but?
That's a great question, Anthony. Thank you as well. All these questions are really terrific, by the way. You guys have huge futures as journalists because you're asking good questions. And I'm proud of all of you. Look, we're all human beings. We all have our prejudices. We all come at various stories with certain ideas. The key to being a good journalist is to try to overcome that, to try to be as honest and as fair and as unbiased and as responsible and factual as you could possibly be. And to, yes, you have your personal opinions, but don't let that overly color what you're reporting, because the readers, the viewers, the listeners, they're relying on you to get factual, important information. When I was a young journalist, just out of SAIS, the first job I got was with the Reuters news agency, a British news organization. And the older journalists always said to me, Wolf, nobody cares what you think. Just go out there and get the facts, report the news, and tell our readers what's going on, and do it in a responsible and important way. And that's what I've been trying to do. Do I have my prejudices, my bias, my personal thoughts? Of course I do. Every human being does. But you know what? I try to be as fair and as responsible as I can be. And I also want to add one point. To those of you, I don't know if any of you want to be journalists, but if you do want to be a journalist, if you're going to report something negative about someone, make sure you give that individual a chance to respond before you put it in print, before you put it on the air, before you report it, because you might be wrong. You want to hear that person's perspective. You may see that there's a good logical reason why that person is saying or doing whatever he or she is doing. So give that person an opportunity to respond before you go out and report it, I think that's the fair thing to do. Now, if you give that person plenty of opportunities to respond and he or she they don't want to respond, then if you feel confident what you have, go ahead and report it, but point out you gave that person plenty of opportunity to respond. So just be fair, just be responsible, and know that what you're doing is really, really important.
Hello, Mr. Blitzer. My name is Carly Wright. I'm from Norman, Oklahoma in the United States, and I'm a Master of Arts and International Affairs candidate. I was wondering, as current students, we are all thinking of how to use our SAIS degree in the short term, for example, getting a job after graduation. In the long term, how would you say your SAIS degree has benefited you? And I wanted to ask, would you have any advice for us? But given that you've touched on this in your speech, are there any major takeaways or memories that you have from your SAIS education? Thank you.
That's a great question too, Carly, and thank you so much. Thanks to all the students, by the way, you guys are great. I learned so much during my 2 years at SAIS. I had really great professors who inspired me, who helped me, and over these many years that I've been a journalist have made me a better journalist. When I studied international economics with a professor, Isaiah Frank, he was really great. He taught me the basic elements of international economics. When I studied international relations with Professor Robert Osgood, he really taught me what was going on in the world. When I studied the Middle East with Professor Majid Kaduri, who was my main professor, he really inspired me, taught me what was going on throughout the Middle East, and I learned so much. When I studied American foreign policy with Professor Robert Tucker, I learned what was happening here in Washington and how that impacts US foreign policy, indeed around the world. Those professors, and I could name more, they really were instrumental in shaping me. So when a story comes up now, let's say a story involving the Middle East, which has been a big story over these past several days, I remember what Professor Majid Kaduri or Professor Fuad Ajami, what they taught me at SAIS, and I remember, and I learned so much. It has made me a better journalist in covering a story like that. If there's a big international economic story, I remember what I learned, Professor Isaiah Frank at SAIS, and knowing how the world, from an economic perspective, interrelates. So the answer is, what you guys are learning right now, no matter what field you're going to be going into, eventually, I am confident the education that you received, and I know all of you worked hard. I worked hard during my 2 years at SAIS, but that education was really so instrumental in helping shape my career and helping me become a better journalist as a result of what I learned at SAIS. And I'm grateful to SAIS for that. And I have no problems telling you and telling everyone SAIS really helped make me a better journalist.
Thank you, SGA, and thank you, Wolf. A final round of applause to our wonderful commencement speaker.
Thank you.
Really great. Okay. As I ask Gabby to come up to the podium to recognize candidates for the degree today, I'd like to take a moment to welcome Professor David Arase, who's here. David is an HNC professor who has been on the SAIS Europe campus this year with the HNC students who, when COVID prevented them from getting to China, came to Bologna instead. Here's a quick message for our HNC students from the co-directors of the Nanjing Center.
Greetings from Nanjing to our HNC and Exile students and to the broader SAIS Europe community. Un saluto a tutti a Bologna.
我们从南京代表中美中心遥祝各位圆满毕业，祝贺你们走向世界，走上新的人生舞台，创造美好新生活。
This has been a remarkable year full of challenges, but also a testament to your resilience and how we've all formed new bonds within the wide horizons of the SAIS and HNC universe.
我们以后一定有机会再相遇、再重逢。我们在南京，在中心，期待着你们常回家看看。
Congratulations.
In addition to our graduates from the HNC program, we're also happy to honor the MA students who are graduating in DC, but who have been part of the SAIS Europe campus at some point this year. So. Gabby, take it away.
Thank you, Director Plemmer. It is my pleasure to now announce the 2021 SAIS graduates. We'll start with our students that are graduating with the Master of Arts. Graduates, when your name is read, please feel free to stand if you want, but just let us make sure you get all of the applause that you deserve. Joan Elizabeth Abbott. Nicholas Bailey. Elena Botts. Mark Cortadeas Mancini. Abigail Furlong. Alexander Haig. Kimberly Jasmine. Arjun Kaushik. Katrina Kothod Vestagal. Charlie Laurie. Yelmer Noctikal. Sabrina Andy Newton. Moritz Osterhuber. Christopher Andrew Olivares. Laura Jen Rowe. Sarah Sharif. Natalie Smith. Sophia Stuckel. Zoe Strauss. Jin Sun. Lindsay Till. We will now recognize the candidates for the Master of Arts in Global Risk. Isabella Nicole Barcelona. Winyu Chun. Matthew Clark. Madeline Holloway. Eliza Hunt. Edward Lee. Moritz Bukaras. Trevor Samuel Odom. Nicholas Aaron Steinwan. Charles Zack. We will now recognize our candidates for the Master of Arts in International Affairs. Goudet Abele. Lauren Ann Brennan. Peter Brown. Muhammad Hamza Akram Dastagir. Ruan El Malawani. Somya Gayatri Ganesh. Nicholas John Gerard. Arletis Gomez. Michael Anthony Hall. Pablo Ivankovic. Minu Joe. Emma Johnson Weiss. Courtney Alexis Keys. Jelani Fundi Lejon. Sneha Mahapatra. Amber Brianne Malone. Lorenzo Marchetti. Afag Mulazadeh. Williams Eniche Noah. Thomas Rave. Giorgio Saveri. Crystal Ann Siegel. Julie Stover. Julianne Straunt. Hitaru Sago. Hannah Schweering. Juditha Toscani. Torstein Treelon. Larissa Sophie Biegelman. Nicholas Wolfram. Junsong Zhang. We will now recognize our candidates for the Master of European Public Policy. Savannah Altvater. Andrea Bruno. Jared Kraft. Dante John Fecta. Eduardo Goldstein. Aaron O'Leary Jones. Lasse Luca. Sarah Famida Rahman. Athanasios Theophanakis. We will now recognize our candidate for the Master of International Public Policy, Benjamin Novak. Finally, we will recognize our student cohort from the Hopkins Nanjing Center. So these are Certificate in Chinese Studies students and Master of Arts in International Studies. Tristan Chapman. Ting Chen. Connor Dunham. Nicholas Kaufman. Daniel Wesley. Michael Young. Bachelor Soon.
Phyllis Brown.
Erica Carvel. Jonah Kaplan. Freya Quist. Alexander Rosas. Please give one final round of applause for our 2021 graduates who graduated in the middle of a global pandemic. Thank you, everyone. While I'm here, I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize our 2021 Student Government Association. For those of you watching from home, for those of you here in the room, you had the opportunity to meet with them a few minutes ago, but I want to take a few minutes to discuss what their work has meant this year. We had a lot of roles, as students know, in place for COVID, some silly, some mundane, but in the end, it could all be summed in basically no fun of any kind in the building at all, and anywhere that we could see it. With that said, the Student Government Association had their work cut out for them. They were tasked to come here with no parties to plan or Thanksgiving feast to host or Vienna balls to organize, and they had to balance all of the emotions and anxieties and complexities of having a student body here when student life was pretty anemic for most of the year. With that said, I could not be prouder of this group of students. I think they handled this task masterfully, and I think they had their work cut out for them, and they made a lot of accomplishments. So with that said, I want to recognize Lorenzo Marchetti, our president, Benjamin Shinogle, who will go on to represent us in Washington, Connor O'Brien, our event chief extraordinaire, and Anthony Larita and Carly Wright, who are both watching from afar. Thank you very much. Oh, no, sorry. I'm sorry. It's my pleasure to introduce our student government president, Lorenzo Marchetti, to give the student address. I'm so sorry. Thank you.
You did not know that, but it was planned. So she was going to forget it, and then I came. So let me just look at you for a second and say an important thing. Congratulations! Show your laurel proud because you earned it this year. We earned it all together, colleagues and friends. I'm honored to be here and speak with you all today in front of our faculty, our administrators, and all the people from home that supported us through this period. Let me start from the beginning. Let me thank my colleagues, Ben, Connor, that are here with us today, Carly, and Anthony was following from home. As Gabby previously said, and she was right, this was a challenging year for the students and thus for the Student Government Association. The ongoing pandemic naturally limited what we could have usually done. All the fun activities that could have brought out, and normality was a tough concept to grasp for a year. However, we did our best to do something that could have benefited the students. From Connor's trivia night, going through Anthony's social media management, Carly's Christmas programs, an exceptional town hall with Director Plummer, and Ben's anchorman-like abilities to moderate an event with the former Dutch Foreign Minister. We really did try to give the students something meaningful. And I believe we did it. Look around you and think about the number of people we have met, the number of friends we have met, despite the pandemic. And I believe there is so much to celebrate today for that reason. We have planted also the seeds as the Student Government Association for a future in Bologna that will help the students to benefit more from the Bologna experience. We passed a new constitution. For an entire year, we negotiated with the administration that treated us as partners. The directorship for the flagship program here at SAIS Bologna, the Maya program. And we are happy to see that Dr. Del Sarto was finally appointed as director. And we know that she will masterfully lead it. Thinking about administration and staff, I would like to extend my thanks to all of them. From Director Plummer to Administrative Director Bart Rakulich, passing through everyone, and I won't name you all, please allow me to say thank you very much. We appreciated what you have done to keep operation running during this tough period. We know what it meant for some of you to work on holidays. We know what it meant for the IT to adapt our building to the needs we had this year, and so quick. So please, let me re-say it. Thank you very much. We appreciate the work of each one of you. We can't forget that we have accomplished something that last year, this period was unthinkable. Together, working, the staff, administration, the faculty, we kept SAIS Europe open just to close for inevitable circumstances. And that's an achievement for us all. And it was hard to imagine. It was hard to imagine for them too. So again, thank you. Then let me thank two people more. Gabby, for everything you have done for the students. We will be forever grateful. So thank you very much. And then there is a second person who is not officially part of the SAIS Europe staff, but I know he is in all our hearts, Giulio. Giulio, we know how hard this year has been for you, but I can tell you we owe you a lot. I personally owe you more than a lot. Please never forget how much the SAIS community loves you and how important you are for the student and for all the staff alike. This period will pass e torneremo a guardare le stelle dal tuo giardino, amico mio. Lastly, I would like to thank the faculty of SAIS Europe. Here, as students, we had the great opportunity to not only meet amazing scholars, but mentors. Even if, and I say that with a smile, from time to time we disagreed on perspective and concepts, you have done a lot to stimulate us. You inspired us all to test our intellectual boundaries and knowledge. Now I feel we are better prepared to approach what is coming. It doesn't matter how hard it will be. I'm sure that we are ready to face it. So I want to thank you all too. Lastly, and more importantly, colleagues and friends, today we are here to celebrate an incredible achievement. We are all well aware of how tough academically SAIS can be. Think about during a pandemic. But we did it. We made it to the end, and now it is our time to go out in the world and be that value added that as humans beings we need. Thinking about this, it came to my mind the words of a president I particularly love, and that was John Fitzgerald Kennedy from the United States. Once said, speaking at the Irish Parliament in 1963, paraphrasing George Bernard Shaw, the problem of the world cannot possibly be solved by skeptics or cynics, whose horizon are limited by obvious realities. We need men who can dream of things that never were and ask why not. We must be the source of that why not. The world needs your talent, your leadership, and your drive. Now, on a final note, personal note, I can tell you that despite the difficulties, today is a day of celebration for me. And I am honored that I can share it with people who I deeply admire, friends and family who I love, and people I'm sure will go out there and make this world a better place. Having worked and spent time with you made me a better person. And I cannot thank you enough for that. Following the advice that Sandro Pertini, this time an Italian president who was known as the Italian who loved the Italians, that he gave to the youth in 1968 at the end of the year speech, he said, "Arm your soul with a conviction, which you are choose because it is this choice that defines the very principle of your freedom." Now, please celebrate this achievement. It is our day. And remember, and I cannot believe I'm going to say this, once a Bolognese, always a Bolognese. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Now, please let me introduce the student experience video of this year. And again, congratulations.
It's been a roller coaster. It's been emotional. It's been exciting.
It's the buildings, it's the food, it's the people, it's the language, it's the culture.
I'm so glad I chose Italy, or Italy chose me.
I don't think there's a better place in the world to be a student.
A lot has happened during this last year, and I'm just happy that I'm still here in Bologna, able to finish my master's degree.
Largely, I had a lot of expectations coming into Bologna related to more experiencing European lifestyle, getting around to travel, seeing new places, doing new things.
So it's been very trying that a lot of the opportunities have just not been presented.
Not be able to touch someone, to hug a friend, undoubtedly that impacts how we interact.
COVID is going to be one of the reasons we all remember this year so vividly.
I wasn't actually expecting to come here at all, considering the COVID-19 situation.
On the other hand, COVID has also had some positive aspects. If it hadn't been for COVID, I wouldn't have decided to switch into the Maya program and stay here for 2 years.
What I learned from the COVID experience is the importance of human communication.
It was a bit sad when things started closing, but at the same time, it was nice to always know, at least as long as the university was open, that we could be here and we could hang out here.
COVID was in the air from the beginning, and COVID happened the whole year. But the SAIS cohort was stronger than COVID, so it was a good year at the end of the day.
We are more ready than ever to approach the work life and the job market now that we not just survive but succeed during COVID.
I think that I've loved this year so much because we've had a lot of really respectful debates.
A lot of the time at an academic institution like SAIS, the worry is, am I good enough? Are my arguments good enough? The most valuable thing I've gotten is being able to decide what this professor is saying at this point in time is incredibly useful.
All things considered, I've been very lucky to be here and be part of this experience. And
they have really changed me.
My best memory, I think just the entire experience.
The brief glimpses I had from the airport to the Airbnb was one of those more magical moments that you expect from a movie clip where you're arriving in a beautiful European city. And
Any time spent with my classmates in which we were like really happy to be with each other in the middle of the pandemic and the papers and exams stress.
The bright side of that was we spent a lot of time really sort of forming these deep friendships and really getting to know one another.
During the pandemic, SAIS has offered us to make a stronger community. Everyone was going through a tough time. That actually brought the students together.
Everyone at SAIS goes through very similar experiences and very similar stresses and moments of happiness at similar cycles. And that creates a community.
Sometimes it was interesting when we would meet outside and people take their masks off and I didn't know what my friends actually looked like.
Because we couldn't do that much, so all of the students here, we got really close and we shared experiences, thoughts, concerns, and I think it really made me grow as a person.
I think it's been a great experience for me personally, just to get to know such a diverse range of people.
It's cool that SAIS is truly an international school. You really don't see this anywhere. I can go to the Julio's Cafe and meet somebody from Germany or Austria or France or all the way around the world from China. You just don't get that in any other American university.
I've been able to form some solid relationships while I've been here.
A lot of things I'll miss about Bologna and a lot of things I'll miss about SAIS, especially people first and foremost, and simply the Bologna way of life.
I will miss everything the most when I leave.
The people, the kind of pace of life.
I think I'm going to miss everything because I really like my professors here. We got really close and everything in this campus is so personal, so I'm going to miss that a lot.
I'll miss gelato, coffee. I'll miss the food a lot. But other than that, also the buildings. I think the buildings are beautiful.
I will absolutely miss the really stimulating and really challenging and very much expansive experience that SAIS Europe has been for me, as well as just the beauty and the welcoming spirit of Bologna.
I'm definitely going to miss everyone quite a bit.
I will miss my friends. I will miss the environment where you can come here and study and then go out to Julio's and talk to people who are in the same boat as you are.
Certainly would love to see Bologna under more normal conditions.
But Bologna is one of the most wonderful cities in the world, and being an American with this community at SAIS just makes it even better.
Tanti auguri to everyone. We did it. Congratulations.
Arrivederci.
Congratulations to everyone.
Yeah, I'm so happy about that. I mean, it has been an amazing, tiring, stressful, and rigorous past 2 years, and the thought of graduating soon makes me so happy.
We've got a lot of coffee dates upcoming in the future when this is all over.
Success for one is a success for all, and I'm proud of every one of y'all for making it through this extremely uncertain time. And it shows that we have the tenacity, we have the resilience, we have the patience.
To all my fellow classmates who are not going to be in DC with me, I'm going to miss every single one of you, and you're all going to do amazing things, and I cannot wait to see where you all end up.
Don't let anyone tell you that you can't succeed, you can't persevere, because this year showed that we can.
Well, I don't know much about the world after this master's because I'm still here, but I definitely can recommend this experience to anybody. I've enjoyed this thoroughly, and I really do feel that there's something for everybody at SAIS.
Congratulations to the class of 2021. It has been amazing to be here.
Congratulations from me to the class of 2021. I'm just going to go off message a little bit for a moment and just say, first of all, people, it's wonderful to see you all here.
I hope, by the sound of it, you've had a fantastic year. I hope you will have a fantastic year wherever you go next year. I've also been struck just looking here at how many Maya graduates there are. I've spent most of the last half an hour or 3/4 of an hour trying to think of a collective noun for Maya graduates. And I came to the conclusion that a hedge of Maya graduates is the correct collective noun. Anyway, leaving that aside, and one final comment just based on the video there. I've been teaching Peter Brown in my class, Peace and War. Every single lesson, when we've agreed on something, Peter puts his hand up and says, well, you could say, and proceeds to argue against. And he did it again in the video here. So that was terrific. I'm here to award the prizes for the Groves-Haynes prizes. As some of you may or may not know, I've just been made the Groves-Haynes Professor of History and International Relations, and so I'm delighted to award the prizes which commemorate the name of our founder, the founder of the Bologna Center, founder and long-term director, commemorating his commitment to international graduate education in international affairs and to excellent research. Prizes have been awarded for the best Maya thesis or thesis-length independent study project, and the best student paper or research project in international policy areas and regions of the world. So I'd ask the people who have won, when I've read out their, when I've described their achievement, to stand up and take a bow or celebrate in some fitting and decorous way. No break dancing, because I don't think we have the space. Okay, so the winner of the International Policy Area Prize is Aspen Brooks. For her paper entitled The Peril of the Pacto del Olvido, The Democratic Damage of Forgetting Francoism. This prize was described by the professor who submitted it, Professor Frosini over there, as one of the 3 best he had ever read for his class on constitutional development. And the paper is, I read it myself, a brilliant analysis of how Spain has been a cautionary case of how difficult it can be to bring justice to the victims of human rights violations when justice is set to the side during the transition itself. Aspen, congratulations. Hey, stand up. Yeah. Our second winner is Zoe Strauss, is the winner of the Regions of the World Prize for her paper entitled The Bundesbank's Role in European Monetary Integration. And my colleague Eric Jones comments. It is an excellent paper. I should say that I said, do it in 30 words, and he gave me 60, and he was right, because we could never have done it in 30 words. It's an excellent paper debunking the conventional wisdom that the German Bundesbank somehow set the terms for Europe's single currency. In doing so, Strauss helps explain why Germany is the most outspoken and dangerous participation in the euro today. Zoe Strauss. Now, for Maya, we actually have 2 winners. This is quite unusual, but we had a tie. 2 absolutely outstanding theses. And this category was selected by my colleague, Raffaele Del Sato, who, as you know, has just been made director of the Maya program. The first award goes to Aletis Gomez for her paper entitled Global Health Diplomacy as Soft Power, The Case of Cuba. Professor Del Sato says of this paper, the thesis applies the theoretical framework on soft power to the case of a small country leader in global health diplomacy, that is, Cuba. The thesis is incredibly well researched, truly original, and remarkably relevant in the COVID-19 age. It is really outstanding. I like it. And yet, another thesis matched it. And our second winner is Giorgio Severi for his paper entitled Transatlantic Tensions, US Weaponization of Interdependence and EU Strategic Autonomy. In the words of Professor Del Sarto again, this thesis explained the tensions in US-European relations by looking at the US inclination to leverage its dominant position in global financial and digital networks. It applies the theoretical framework on the weaponization of interdependence to 3 different case studies. It is an excellent thesis. Congratulations to you. One additional prize, since 2019, we've had an additional prize here at SAIS Europe, the Excellence in Gender Research Prize. It was established by the Global Women's Leadership Student Group, who I applaud, of the Bologna class of 2018 and the Bologna class of 1975. The prize recognizes the importance of research into how gender shapes international affairs and policies. And the prize, like the Groves-Haynes Prize, honors the best research paper or article produced by SAIS Europe students, which engage a gender perspective to examine international affairs. And the winner of the Excellence in Gender Research is Michael Hall for his paper entitled Societal Transitions and Rural Tajik Women's Success in Intra-Household Bargaining. Professor Nina Hall wrote me a little comment on this, and she says of Michael's paper that it demonstrates how the transition from a Soviet to a market economy triggered changes to rural Tajiks' women's power in the household. Under a planned economy, welfare was provided by the state and a high proportion of women in Tajikistan worked. However, in the liberal market economy, welfare was privatized and the burden fell on women to do housework and childcare, and their overall power within household bargaining therefore fell. So congratulations once again, Michael Hall. Just to embarrass Michael a little bit, I can also tell you were a close runner-up for the International Policy Prize as well. So, congratulations to our winners, but congratulations, I think you're all winners, as I think we've all heard so far. Congratulations to all the many people that I've certainly had in my classes who have done excellent work. I wish you all the best for the future. Mike, over to you.
Thanks so much, Mark. Now it's my pleasure to announce the winner of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association Excellence in Teaching Award. Since 1992, the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association, to which you will soon subscribe, has annually honored faculty throughout the university who excel in the art of teaching. At each of the Hopkins schools, the award can be given to one or more professors, and students are involved in the nomination and selection process. In Bologna, every year we invite students to vote for an adjunct faculty member who has demonstrated excellence in teaching at SAIS Europe. And the competition is always very stiff. This year, the secret has been already revealed in the program. And so for the academic year 2021, the winner of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association Excellence in Teaching Award is Sir Michael Lee. Sir Michael is the academic director of the MEPP and senior adjunct professor of European Studies at SAIS Europe. In addition to looking after the MEPP students, Michael also teaches clear writing for European public policy in the fall and scenarios for the future of Europe in the spring. At the beginning of his career, Professor Lee taught here at SAIS Europe, and he returned as an adjunct professor in 2018. Between these two experiences, he's had an amazing career across Europe. In addition to teaching at the Bologna Center, Sir Michael is a senior fellow at Bruegel and a senior advisor to Covington and Baring, both based in Brussels. Previously, he was a senior fellow of the German Marshall Fund. Professor Lee spent most of his career working for the European Commission, reaching the level of General Director for Enlargement a position he held from 2006 to 2011. He holds a bachelor's degree in philosophy, politics, and economics from Oxford University and a PhD in political science from MIT. Students who nominated Professor Lee for the Excellence in Teaching Award praised him for his ability to stimulate and motivate students, even on Zoom. They appreciated his dedication to his classes as well as attention to student needs. His feedback on papers was thorough and constructive, and the atmosphere in his classes was open and conducive to discussion. Michael, you want to come up and say a few words?
Well, thank you very much, Mike, and thanks especially to all the students. I was deeply moved when you let the cat out of the bag, and I discovered that I'd received this award after so many years of being associated with SAIS and working with the students. It's really an award that I feel I should share with the students. It should be a joint award to the students as well, because it's been a journey of discovery that we have taken together. We've never done this before. I've never done it. You've never done it. And through constant exchanges, discussions, also with my colleagues who've shared their teaching experiences with me, I think we've worked out a new way of studying together, even under these tremendously difficult circumstances. So thank you all so much for that. I also feel that I've learned from you during this year. We've dealt with subjects so diverse, from biodigitization, which I could not have said a word about before I had read the excellent work of our students working in this area, to populism in Finland and Sweden, across the whole range of current European issues. It's been a two-way process, and I've learned tremendously from this. But I think what I've learned most from you has been to be positive about the future, even under these really difficult circumstances. Whenever people in my generation have an inclination to say things ain't what they used to be, if only we could get back to the good old days, the students have always pulled me up, and they've been looking towards the future. They have not let COVID get them down. They've been positive. They've thought about their future careers and the future of Europe, of the United States, of the world. And I've found this a constant source of inspiration. So thanks to you. Thank you so much for this award. And I'll do whatever I can to be worthy of it in the future. Good luck to you all. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Michael. We are a bit behind schedule, and so you think that I might shorten my closing remarks, and if you do think that, I'm not going to. Okay, really. When SAIS Europe was founded 66 years ago, the goal of its founder, Seagrove Haynes, was to provide advanced training to students representing many nationalities who would be taught by a top-notch international faculty and would learn from each other, sharing in unique experiences that would prepare them for careers as global leaders in international affairs. The class of 2021 is exemplary in this regard. Despite the additional challenges due to the pandemic, you've impressed your professors in the classroom, as we've seen, bonded outside the classroom to the extent that the pandemic permitted, and have demonstrated a strong commitment to making the world a better place, a theme that we hear over and over. Knowing this class, I have every confidence that you will. You were special from the beginning. First, you brought a remarkable geographic diversity to SAIS Europe. As I mentioned earlier, this class has 40 different nationalities hailing from 4 continents. This fall, we had a full house with over 30 students in exile from our Washington and Nanjing campuses, and approximately 25 students attending remotely for various reasons. Approximately 70 students took advantage of cross-campus enrollment in all directions. That is, they took virtual online classes at a campus other than their base. In addition to the mainly international students who joined us in Bologna from Nanjing, 5 international faculty arrived on campus to teach virtually from our classrooms and create a community for the Nanjing students in exile, with a few of them considering continuing to stay on in Bologna, like Professor Arase. Certainly, this cultural richness contributes to making SAIS Europe such a great place at which to teach and in which to research and work. So let me thank you, class of 2021, for what you have brought to the Bologna Center this year, despite its challenges. This is the end of my 7th year as director at SAIS Europe, my 20th year as professor of international economics, and my 39th year as a Bologna Center alumnus. I know I don't seem that old, but I'm testing the hypothesis that Sangiovese is actually the fountain of youth. We'll see. It's a long-standing rumor anyway. Every May when I look back on the departing class and what it's brought to the institution, I'm astounded by the list of memorable achievements. But the class of 2021 will always have a special place in my heart. Students, the future is in your hands. Please remember the tools you've learned this year are not just meant to help you get your first job after graduation, but rather to help you thrive throughout your careers. Statistics suggest that you will change your job many times. You should be ready for whatever life throws at you. I hope that during the year you've profited from the multidisciplinary richness offered by SAIS Europe in studying pressing issues from historical, political, and economic perspectives. I hope that you've been able to benefit from the unique set of professors we are so fortunate to host. I hope you took a balanced mix of courses here, both to enhance your marketability after graduation and to enhance your intuition of and perspective on global affairs. And I agree very much with Wolf Blitzer when he says that the important thing is to be passionate about what you're doing, whatever it is. That is the key point. And that might sound like rhetoric, but it certainly is not. I hope that you've taken a lot of economics because, like diamonds, economics is forever. Did you actually boo? Can we stop this degree granting process? And I hope that you won't forget your new roots in Bologna. Bolognese forge a lasting bond, and not just among yourselves, but also with the great network of over 8,000 alumni. You've entered into a great tradition. If that isn't clear to you now, it certainly will be eventually. Before we close, here are some clips from the SAIS community of faculty and staff who join me in congratulating you on your achievement today.
Congratulations, SAIS Europe class of 2021 on this remarkable accomplishment.
Congratulations to
Congratulations.
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 Congratulazioni ragazzi.
Ciao a tutti and congratulations.
I am so pleased that you've all got to commencement, and I congratulate the class of 2021.
Congratulations on your graduation after a year of hard work, determination, and good humor.
I am so proud of this historic class.
The good humor speaks enormously of you in this very, very difficult time that we're all going through.
You will be a class that none of us forgets.
This has been a difficult and complicated year, but you've persevered with grace, determination, and good old-fashioned elbow grease.
I have been really impressed with how much you have put into your education and gotten out of it with COVID.
The ability actually to see the three dimensions, the smiles, the laughs, the grimaces.
But we, and I did for sure, we discovered the pleasure of meeting in person exactly the same way as we appreciated going for a first coffee at Julia's bar.
You certainly didn't have it easy this year. In one of the most complicated and difficult years of the past century, you have attained a milestone in your life. It is an achievement worthy of great respect and admiration.
This will make you a unique class forever and ever in the history of SAIS. You'll be the COVID class.
You are very special.
I was impressed by your strength and by your resilience and your enthusiasm.
I've been impressed at the way you've been helping each other out.
And I hope that you will continue to be critical towards all sides, always question all sides.
You know already that you are capable of adapting, overcoming adversity.
I truly hope you'll become good policymakers in the future. And by good policymakers, I mean policymakers who are competent, but who know how to make the right ethical choices.
You'll make a great difference.
I'm confident that strong people like you who have managed to achieve their goals in such a complex and new context will have no difficulty in facing professional and personal challenges that life will present.
Thank you for giving us a chance. Thank you for coming to Bologna, for those of you who came.
At a time when the only thing guaranteed for most of you was a 14-day quarantine upon arrival.
The best thing about the year for all of us has been having you here on campus.
Thank you for following all the COVID rules that we put in, the smart ones, the silly ones.
Thank you so much for your availability and cooperation this year.
Thank you for your amazing spirit and resilience during what I know is a very difficult year.
And thank you for being a part of the 2021 class. Grazie mille.
The post-COVID world poses myriad challenges, and I have every confidence that you will confront them with imagination, effectiveness, and purpose, always seeking to make the world a better place.
My wish is that you find your way of contributing to social and political innovation.
I'm convinced that you are better qualified than anybody else to implement social innovation, whatever the job or the work you will enter very soon.
Ad Maiora, as the Latin motto goes, which might, at least in our case, be let's be sure to celebrate in person in the coming alumni reunions.
Well done for surviving the year and wishing you many Zoomless adventures.
I hope you stay energetic, enthusiastic, ambitious and curious.
And now I send you my best wishes for this summer, hopefully with a lot of freedoms.
Liebe Leute, es war mir eine große Freude, euch kennenzulernen und ich wünsche euch alles Gute für die Zukunft.
我们从南京代表中美中心遥祝各位圆满毕业。
Un saluto a tutti a Bologna.
You deserve all of the success and accomplishments that are for sure coming your way.
You deserve an alumni weekend every year, and I will be there with you having a Prosecco to congratulate you on a fantastic accomplishment. Congratulations.
Great things lie ahead for you. Best of luck.
And remember, the career services will always be here to support you.
I will miss you a lot, and I wish you the best for the future.
I look forward to seeing you again in Bologna.
This time without the mask. Bentornati all'Alumni Weekend in futuro. Ciao!
Don't party too much. I'm joking.
Vi auguriamo davvero tutto il meglio, un futuro brillante ed una carriera eccitante.
No! Emozionante!
I hope to see you soon as possible to recover all of the parties we lost this year.
The knowledge you have gained and the relationships you have forged at SAIS will last throughout your lives.
And the community and the bonds that you formed will be a part of your life. So keep us in your mind, and we look forward to hearing about your progress.
We will no doubt miss you, but we are extremely thrilled that soon you'll be part of our amazing alumni network.
So now, break the mold and take your place in the world.
Just remember, step by step, you will walk 1,000 miles.
We appreciated having you here. Good luck to you.
We wish you to have a great success, and please stay in touch.
Ci vediamo a Bologna. Arrivederci.
If possible, stay, always enjoy.
Stay in touch.
Un caro abbraccio da me e da tutti noi a Bologna. Auguri e congratulazioni.
Graduating students, this is commencement, the beginning. Continuing students, you're halfway to the beginning. It's been my great honor and privilege to work with you and to be the first to welcome you as freshly minted alumni. And in these tough times, I've been listening to a lot of Bob Dylan, and I was going to quote one of his songs, but I just don't have the courage. So I'll just say thank you and congratulations again.